Today we will look at one of the important models of academic writing, that is statement of purpose. So, this statement of purpose, or popularly known as SOP, is usually required when you apply for higher studies or you apply for an internship in some place. So, let us look at what it is and how you should write a good SOP. Say you are applying for an internship. In such a case, what are the things you need to include in your statement of purpose? So, these are some points you need to keep in mind when you are preparing SOP for an internship. You need to first specify which field of employment you would like to work in and why. So, you need to include details of any relevant work or study experience related to this field. So, say you are going to work in the area of population studies, then you should specify courses which you have done which are relevant to it, or some kind of work experience you had. Maybe you worked on a small term research project. These kinds of things you need to include. Second, which skills you can offer a potential employer and what they can expect to gain from employing you. So, this is very important. Note here that any time there will be many candidates competing for a few available, say, internship positions. So, you need to highlight what specific skills you possess, and by employing you, how the company is going to benefit. This is very important. Say you have analytical skills. So, how those skills are going to help the company. You need to highlight those skills. Note here, the skills you highlight should be related to your aim. That is what we have mentioned in point number 1. So, say you are applying for the position and the skills you highlight are not related, then it does not make any sense. Then, third point, evidence. You need to highlight examples from your CV to substantiate your claims. So, we have seen when we were looking at argument that when you make a statement, it should be backed up with sufficient evidence. So, whenever you make some statement, you need to give some examples, some evidence to elaborate that point. For example, if you say you have leadership skills, just making a statement is not enough. You have to give an example. Say how during your college cultural festival you organized a particular event. So, that kind of concrete evidence substantiates your claim. Next, discuss how your internship relates to your future career plans. So, this is again very important. This actually serves multiple purposes. One, it tells your potential employer that you are very serious about your career, you have thought about it, and the internship you are applying for is actually related to that. So, it means if you are serious about your career, you are going to be serious about this internship as well. So, if you are serious, the company is going to benefit immensely from it. So, therefore, you need to make it very clear that this internship is related to your career plans. Also, if you show that you have thought about your career plans and you are applying for this particular internship, keeping that in mind, you come off as a a good candidate. You have thought about your career, you are a kind of well planned person, you have foresight. So, all those things make you a good candidate. They show you as a quite a serious person committed to one's career goal. So, this is a very important point. So, you just do not apply for an internship because it is available, you apply for it because you need it. That is going to help you in your career in a very significant way. So, that is what companies usually look for. Remember, there are many candidates for any position, and so they do not want to waste their time, energy, resources on a candidate who is not serious. So, you need to make sure that you provide all kinds of evidence to show that you are quite serious about this particular opportunity. So, a good SOP actually addresses the following points. Why are you applying for this internship? So, how is it part of your career plan? So, say you are ultimately planning to take up some work in this data analysis kind of job. So, you say that this internship will help you prepare in that. So, then it means it makes sense. How did your interest in chosen area develop? So, this particular area, say data analysis. So, how did you develop interest in it? You have to say, maybe it is because of good teacher, or maybe because you read something about it, you developed interest, then you read something on your own. So, that has made you more interested in that particular field, or it could be because of your friend, somebody who initiated into this field, but later on you also developed interest in that. Then, what do you hope to learn from this internship? So, here you need to very clearly say what specific skills you are hoping to learn from this. So, if you simply make a vague statement like yours is a reputed company and I want to get good experience, it is, remember, it is a vague statement. So, it does not tell anything about your plans, why you are interested in this particular internship. So, we have noted that it is assumed you have thought about your career and the internship you are interested in is going to ultimately help you in your career. So, those specific set of skills you might want to highlight here. So, you can say I ultimately want to work in PR, public relations sector. So, I need to learn how to interact with people, deal difficult situations. So, then you can say this internship is going to help me in that aspect. What do you see as your strengths? So, these are kinds of skills you are going to bring to that particular company. So, are you a good communicator? So, are you very good at mathematical skills? You are good at multiple languages. So, what specific strengths you have? What are your career goals and aspirations? So, this is very important. What useful skills and qualities can you offer the employer to effectively contribute to the organization, and where have you demonstrated these strengths and skills? So, we have seen you need to provide evidence. So, simply do not make a statement, give short examples wherever possible to substantiate your claims. So, we will look at an example, then it becomes clear how you need to integrate examples into your statement of purpose. Another possibility is you are applying for higher studies abroad, and there universities ask you for a statement of purpose. This, in some ways is similar to when you are applying for an internship, but there are some differences as well. So, when you are applying for higher studies, in your SOP, you need to include the following things. So, first one, what you want to do and what you are applying for. So, this you have to very clearly specify. So, are you applying to do MS or PhD, an integrated MS PhD program, something like that. So, you have to do specify it very clearly in the very beginning. Then, which areas you are interested in. So, say you are applying for PhD. So, do you have any specific area in your mind? So, it is very important. Just like your internship application, here also you need to be clear about your research interests. So, I want to work in this specific field. Then it helps university make a decision about your candidature. Then, why that particular university institute? So, when you are applying for an internship, you say that why that particular internship and why that particular company. So, similarly here you say why you are applying for that particular university or institute. So, why do universities expect this? The point is something like this. So, if you know, you are very sure about why you are applying for that, it means you have done some research, one about that particular university, and also you are very sure about your research interests. So, it means you have done a bit of research and you have shortlisted that particular university as the best place to pursue your research interests. So, it means you know something about the institute, that particular university. Then, how your previous courses of study equipped you. So, you are applying for higher studies here. So, remember, so you need to say how your previous course, say your 4-year BTech. So, when you are applying for higher studies, what are the things you need to include in your SOP? So, let us look at these things. First one is what you want to do or what you are applying for. So, you need to clearly specify the program you are interested in. That particular institute, university may be offering several programs. So, you need to clearly specify, say you are interested in MS, MS by research, PhD, integrated MS PhD programs. So, what exactly it is. Then, which area or areas you are interested in. So, if you are applying for PhD, then you need to be particular about the area you are interested in. So, this is very important. So, we know within a broad field, say physics, you have again theoretical physics, applied physics, and again there are several areas within that. So, you need to specify what exactly you are interested in. Then, why that particular university or institute? So, this is a very important point. So, you need to say why you are applying for that particular university for that specific program. So, you are applying for say University of Pennsylvania, then why that? Because most universities offer these kinds of MS, PhD programs. So, you need to clearly say why you have zeroed in on that specific place. So, this actually tells the university, the institute you are applying for, that you are pretty serious and you have done some research, and then you have shortlisted that specific place. So, maybe you found out that that particular university has state of the art lab facilities in your research area, and therefore, you are very keen in getting into that university. So, you need to mention that specific information, or you read about teachers work in that particular university. So, you want to work under that specific person. So, all these things clearly tell the university, the institute you are applying for, what your research interests are and how serious you are about your research interests. Then, how your previous course or courses of study equipped you. So, if you are applying for MS PhD, then how your BTech has helped you in that. So, what courses you done, so that you have gained some basic knowledge and now you are ready for higher studies. Or if you have done any short term courses outside your regular program, so how they helped you in preparing for higher studies. So, what specific skills you learned. So, you need to mention that, because remember, you are applying for higher studies and universities expect some level of basic knowledge in that field of study. So, you need to amply make it clear that you have the required basic knowledge. Then, what made you develop interest in those particular areas? So, here you can narrate interesting anecdotes. So, you went to a specific lab on a visit and something there attracted you, or you listened to an expert who had come to your college for a talk. So, that made you develop interest. So, whatever made you develop interest, you need to clearly say that. This again tells your potential university, the institute, how serious you are about the area. Then, what your future goals are and how this particular program helps you achieve it. So, this is again something very similar to what you do when you are applying for an internship. So, there you say that how this internship is going to help you in your long term career. So, similarly here you have to say, if you are applying for PhD, why PhD? So, what is your career goal and how is it linked with that? So, you are interested in an academic career, and then you can say I am applying to do PhD because it will help me, or I am interested in getting into R&D wing of a multinational company. So, I want to have some experience in research. So, I am doing MS by research. So, you need to give proper justification for applying for this particular program and link it with your future goals. Then, what your strengths are. So, here the university or the institute will be expecting something related to your previous courses of study or previous set of experiences. So, the basic skills you need to cope with the programs, these things the university will be expecting you. Now, let us look at an example. So, here the student is applying for higher studies. So, let us look at the statement of purpose in detail. It all started with one of my geography classes during high school in 1998, when I listened to a speech delivered by the former US Vice President Al Gore. In the speech, Gore talked about a new way of technological innovation where every citizen of the world could interact with a three-dimensional spinning virtual globe and access the vast amount of scientific and cultural information to help understand the mysteries behind Earth and its human activities. This intriguing vision of a digital Earth developed inquisitiveness in me at that very stage to explore the area further. So, as you can see here, the candidate is narrating an anecdote, a personal experience. So, the candidate is interested in version of digital Earth, and is explaining how he developed interest in it. So, even when he was in high school, the candidate listened to the former US president, and that initiated this candidate into this particular field. So, this clearly says how I developed interest in this particular field. Okay, continuing. 2 years later, I joined Bachelor of Technology in Civil Engineering at IIT Kanpur, where I was exposed to the field of geoinformatics. I realized that with the advent of newer technologies, the field encompasses the very concept of digital Earth that had been entrenched in my mind since the high school. I found this field quite interesting in terms of its practicality. So, now you can see there is a kind of sequential development. So, here the candidate here is talking about something which happened when he or she was in high school, and this is next when he or she joined B.Tech program. Now, you can clearly see here that the candidate is attempting to link the courses, the program he completed, that is Bachelor of Technology in Civil Engineering, with in area of interest. So, geoinformatics. So, this shows candidate as quite serious, and the candidate has joined this specific course of study because the candidate is interested in it. So, this builds a strong case. Now, continuing, an elementary course on geoinformatics familiarized me with the fundamental principles and practice. I got an opportunity to study numerical methods in engineering and probability and statistics, which form the backbone for various modeling and accuracy problems. To gain further insight into geoinformatics, I did an elective course called Introduction to Remote Sensing, which course shaped my interests, where I learned concepts of image processing, remote sensing using interferometry, polarimetry, etc. So, now here the candidate is talking about how his previous course of study has equipped him or her for this further study. So, there is some information about courses. So, the candidate says he or she is interested in geoinformatics. So, are the courses he or she studied related to it? Yes. So, here are the details. So, an elementary course on geoinformatics, through this the candidate has got fundamental principles, then has done other courses like numerical methods in engineering, probability in statistics, and then introduction to remote sensing. So, this is an elective course, means did out of choice. So, shows candidate is quite serious about his or her interest and is doing courses related to that. Now, continuing. Another course on geospatial data processing helped me develop a good understanding of data processing techniques. In the last semester of my course, I will be taking an elective course on machine processing of remotely sensed data, which I hope will enhance the understanding of applications of image processing system for remote sensing data. So, here candidate talks about another course completed. Also, you can see the candidate talks about a course he or she is going to do. So, this again very clearly shows that a candidate is serious, has planned coursework according to his or her research interest. So, all these details clearly show that this particular candidate has planned his or her courses in a systematic manner, and through those courses he is able to get the required basic knowledge. So, this is a good part of statement of the purpose. Now, I was selected for METAC's Global Link Research Program in the summer of 2015. As part of this program, I got an opportunity to work with Professor Milos Popovic, University of Toronto, on Dr. Cesar Marquez-Chin, Toronto Rehabilitation Institute, Canada. My task was to develop a system to perform online identification of specific upper limb movements through analysis of low density EEG signals. After a thorough analysis of the spectrograms of the signals, I recognized specific time frequency patterns in the signal capable of predicting the correct hand movement. I developed feature extraction routine to filter out these patterns from the signal. The extracted features were classified using random forests, bag trees, and finally, the data acquisition system was integrated with the classifiers using LabVIEW programming. By the end of the internship, I obtained a good insight into solving a multi-class classification problem and acquired software development skills related to artificial intelligence and signal processing. METAC's Global Link Research Program also provided me with opportunities to make several industry visits and attend professional development workshops. So, this extract is from another statement of purpose, where the candidate is talking about his or her internship experience. So, remember, you need to state all what has prepared you for higher studies. So, internship actually could be a good experience. So, here the candidate is talking about a particular research experience in Canada. People the candidate worked with are mentioned, the institutes are mentioned, and then very importantly you can see that the candidate gives extensive details about the internship work. So, if you simply say I got an internship, I worked with so and so in so and so place, so then that is not enough. So, what exactly you did? Was your contribution significant, or were you just a minor part of a large team? So, here candidate gives extensive details and what exactly the candidate did, what specific skills the candidate acquired. So, you can see here I obtained a good insight into solving a multi-class classification problem and acquired software development skills related to artificial intelligence and signal processing. Then during this the candidate also made several industry visits and attended professional development workshops. So, overall, so this shows that the candidate has had a good internship program and picked several skills. So, that builds a strong case. Simply saying I had an internship, that is a different thing, but if you give details and you link it with what you are applying for and clearly say that you have learned something concrete from it, so then that makes your statement of purpose very effective. Okay. Now, let us look at this extract. This is from another statement of purpose. Here candidate is explaining why he or she is applying for that specific place. So, let us look at it in detail. I choose Georgia Tech because it is a university that embodies a major dedication to empirical research being conducted, which is quite substantial in terms of practicality of research, unlike many graduate programs that reveal only clinical emphasis. As far as the field of GIS is concerned, unless there is no pragmatic inclination of the research, the true essence of the field may not be captured. Another reason for choosing Georgia Tech is its specialized program of MS-GIST being offered, that is completely dedicated to this field, thus providing strong foundation. So, here candidate says this university is the best place to do research in the field of GIS. Why? So, candidate does a small comparison here. So, elsewhere they have only clinical emphasis, but this place focuses on practicality of research, and then elaborating on that, the candidate says unless there is no pragmatic inclination of the research, the true essence of the field may not be captured. So, since this place focuses on this particular part, the candidate says I want to apply for this particular place. Also, if you look at this part, the university offers a specialized program which is completely dedicated to this field. So, all these details clearly show that this candidate has done extensive research, has compared graduate programs being offered by several universities, and then has selected this place, Georgia Tech. And this is not because it's it's a famous university, so you don't see such vague statements here. So, the reasons are very clear and very rational. So, I am looking for this particular thing in my field, and this is what the university offers. So, therefore, I am applying for it. The candidate gives one more argument here. So, look at this. Further, the area of research of Professor Guha has been quite inspirational to me, especially his work on application of GIS for finding the optimal walking route. So, here the candidate says he or she has read something about research of a person associated with the university, and that work has been inspirational to him or her. So, this again shows that candidate has done some background work, has done some homework. So, if the candidate say gets selected, so who is he or she going to work with? So, the candidate has done some work about that. So, this again shows that the candidate is pretty serious. So, some points you need to keep in mind. One, you need to keep it relevant. Do not provide any irrelevant information. So, you are talking about coursework. Do not give details of courses which are not linked to your research interest. So, that may be an excellent course, you got very good grade, but if it is not related, then you should avoid it. Then keep it concise and focused, make every line count. So, this is very important, because most universities they specify word limit. So, every word, every line counts. So, be concise and be focused. Do not make negative statements. For example, I have no experience in something, or sometimes I have difficulty concentrating. So, you should not make negative statements. You should try to highlight your strengths. So, say at the time of interview, you are asked about your weaknesses, then you may mention, but give it a positive spin. So, you say that you are trying to overcome your weaknesses. So, that is the next point. Highlight a weakness only if you can explain how you have overcome it. Say you had stage fear, you overcome it. So, that is actually tells about one of your strengths. So, only in such case you should talk about your weaknesses. Then, do not make overstatements or use obscure terms. So, I said I am applying for this university because yours is a highly reputed university. So, these kinds of statements are very vague. They do not tell anything about the university. They are very subjective statements, sometimes overly stated. So, you need to say very specifically. So, you are applying for an internship. So, do not say US is a reputed multinational company with positive work culture, and so these are terms do not mean much unless you elaborate on them. So, do not make any overstatements. At the same time, do not use obscure terms. So, some people are under the impression that if you use long, fairly technical words, you come off as a well-read person. On the contrary, if you use such words, whatever you are trying to communicate may not get communicated. So, the purpose may actually be lost. So, note here that the idea is to communicate your ideas effectively using as minimal words as possible. So, this point you need to keep in mind. Do not use obscure terms. We will look at some issues with some sections of statement of purposes. So, here is an extract. So, this extract has some issues about language. So, let us look at it. The penchant towards pursuing career in academia has been accentuated from a decent academic performance. The diligent efforts put in academics have made me stand first in the Department of Civil Engineering right from sophomore year. So, you can see this is a classic example of overstatement, beating around the bush. So, look at the words penchant, career in academia, accentuated. So, you can simply say that I am interested in a career in academics. So, compare that statement with this. So, that is very straightforward, clearly tells what your interests are. So, here what is it? Were you interested in academics even before, or you developed interest later on? And what does decent academic performance mean here? So, does it mean you are just an average student? So, all these things are very vague. And again look at the second sentence, diligent efforts put in academics. So, passive sentence, have made me stand first in the Department of Civil Engineering. So, you can simply say I have stood first in my department right from the first year. So, you put you in the center of the thing. So, diligent efforts put in academics, who's put in efforts? So, these things are too longish and they do not show very clearly what exactly you are trying to say. So, use clear statements. Look at another example. After a thorough introspection of my abilities and past experiences, I have decided to pursue a career in research. I strongly believe that this will enable me to fulfill my passion of working in an environment which provides ample opportunities for innovation and at the same time will be intellectually challenging. So, this is an example of a statement which is too vague. So, what is the problem here? So, first, why the candidate has decided to pursue a career? Thorough introspection of my abilities and past experiences. So, what are these abilities? So, what are these past experiences? Are you good at problem solving? Are you good at synthesizing? Are you good at designing experiments? So, what made you decide that you are good at research. So, you need to clearly specify. Then see, I strongly believe that this will enable me to fulfill my passion of working in an environment. So, what kind of an environment? Is it an R&D wing in a company, or a research institute, or a university where you need to do some research as well as some teaching. So, what exactly it is? See, the statements is very vague. It is ample opportunities for innovation and at the same time will be intellectually challenging. So, these statements do not mean much. You have to specify exactly what kind of an environment you are interested in. Okay, we will look at another statement of purpose, this time written for internship. So, candidate here is applying for an internship, and let us look at the statement of purpose in detail. I am interested in the Stratfor summer internship program because it will give me invaluable experience in world affairs and intelligence analysis that will benefit me as I pursue a career in the United States Foreign Service or in government intelligence agencies. I also believe that my experience and skills will be an asset to Stratfor during my internship. So, as you can see in the very first paragraph, the candidate clearly states what he or she is applying for. So, here it is summer internship at this company called Stratfor, and what benefits for candidate, why? It will give me invaluable experience in the world affairs and intelligence analysis. So, why you need these things? This will ultimately help me in my career in foreign service. So, this shows that the candidate has a clear career goal, and this internship is going to help in achieving that. Then what benefits for organization? So, I also believe that my experience and skills will be an asset. So, what are these? The candidate elaborates on them in the forthcoming paragraphs. Okay, let us look at the second paragraph. I completed my undergraduate education at the University of Chicago, graduating Phi Beta Kappa with a Bachelor of Arts with honors in East Asian languages and civilizations, with an emphasis on China. I have been studying Mandarin Chinese for 5 years, including 2 trips to Beijing on scholarship. The first was for intensive language study, while the second was to carry out an independent research project which I designed for my senior bachelor's thesis. Through this project, which involved interviewing witnesses of Chinese political criticism in the 1950s, I learned how to research a subject in a comprehensive way. This same skill would be an asset as I assist in constructing intelligence analysis with Stratfor. So, this paragraph includes some details about candidates' education. So, the candidate has got basic academic qualification, that too has a very good academic record. So, has studied in a good place, and in addition, see, the candidate has also been studying Mandarin Chinese, and then the candidate also talks about 2 trips to Beijing, and that too on scholarship. So, candidate does not stop here, gives more details about it. The first was to study language, second one was to carry out an independent research project. So, this clearly explains how this person is equipped in doing something at Stratfor. So, this is the task which the candidate may be required to do at Strat 4, constructing intelligence analysis. So, how previous experiences help the candidate in doing so. So, you can also see that the candidate has been very focused. Education was related to something East Asian languages and civilizations with an emphasis on China, has studied Chinese, has been to Beijing, has done a small research for bachelor's thesis, has learned some research skills. So, all these things are related to the same field of study. Now, I am currently a master's candidate at the Hopkins Nanjing Center for Chinese and American Studies in Nanjing, China, where I am studying international politics. This has given me a great deal of knowledge in modern global affairs and international relations, in addition to background knowledge of the East Asian region specifically. In particular, I have studied Sino-US economic and political relations, the modern Chinese conception of national security, and Chinese viewpoints on important issues such as the Taiwan question. This has given me a sense of where East Asian and world affairs are likely heading in the future, and would make me invaluable as an analyst in a number of areas of responsibility, including East Asia, military and terrorism security. So, in the previous paragraph here, the candidate has given details about undergraduate education and projects done during that time. Now, candidate gives details about courses doing at present and how they are relevant. So, you can see here again the current course is is international politics and is studying in China. So, this is in continuation of the research interests the candidate has developed earlier. So, here again there are specific details you can see here. I have studied Sino-US economic political relations. So, there are details and then links all these things, the skills learned, knowledge acquired with what the candidate may be expected to do in this particular company. So, the thing is here areas of responsibility including East Asia, military and terrorism and security. So, links with the responsibilities at this internship company. Next paragraph. Outside of the classroom, I have been a leader in my community. At the University of Chicago, I was president of the Inter-House Council, an organization that advises the university administration on student life issues. This role required me to work with community stakeholders in a constructive fashion and plan with them in mind. For example, I served as the chair of a committee that formulated and instituted a plan to create gender neutral housing at the university in order to benefit those who may not feel comfortable in traditional housing. In doing so, we needed to account for the concerns of first year students, administrators and many other groups. I also served as a technical support advisor at a Chicago public school, work for which I received an award. This has both given me a great deal of proficiency both in working with technology and in interacting with people very different from myself. The organizational and technical skills that I have acquired from these experiences have given me a great deal of self-motivation and leadership skill. In Stratfor's fast-paced environment of daily analysis, these skills will keep me focused on producing the best work possible. So, the previous two paragraphs include details about academics, So, courses of study, internships, research, all those things. This talks about the candidates co-curricular achievements, and you can see that this is not some vague statement. There are specific examples and how these are relevant for the current position applying for. So, you can see I was president of Inter-House Council, an organization that advises university administration on student life issues. So, what exactly this candidate did? So, the details are here, and then technical support advisor at a school. So, then at the end here, what I have gained from these organizational and technical skills the candidate has got, and also they have given the candidate a great deal of self motivation and leadership. So, how are these going to be relevant? The candidate knows that the company he or she is applying for is very fast paced environment. So, you need to keep focused on producing the best work. So, this self motivation and leadership skills will come in handy. So, candidate here again you can clearly see includes those co-curricular achievements which are extremely relevant to what he or she is applying for. The candidate may have other achievements, but they are not included here. So, this is what we mentioned. So, no matter how great it is, unless it is relevant to your purpose, you need not include it, because that eats up space and it dilutes your argument. Okay. The last paragraph. In sum, I believe that my education and leadership experiences would benefit Stratfor considerably were I to be selected for an internship. At the same time, interning at Stratfor would jumpstart my career in the public sector and prepare me for possible private sector work as an intelligence analyst. I hope to discuss this exciting opportunity with you further. So, here candidate kind of sums up all the achievements and again highlights how this internship is useful for the candidate's career, and as well as it's for how it's going to be useful for the company as well. So, these 2 points are very clear. So, why this internship is important for me, and what am I going to bring to your company. So, these 2 points the candidate again reiterates, and you can see there is a formal signing off. I hope to discuss this exciting opportunity with you further. Also, you can see that this is just one page, about 600 words, and the candidate has included all the relevant details and builds a very strong case. So, this is how you plan your statement of purpose. So, you stay focused and include only details which are relevant. Moving on, we look at 2 other statements which are very frequently required in academic context. We will look at them very briefly. The first one is research statement. So, sometimes when you are applying for academic jobs, institutes, universities, they require you to send this research statement or statement of research. So, what you include here? You include your research experience and your research accomplishments. Then you include your current research interests, then implications of your research interest for the university in specific and for the general public, as a wider implication. So, these things are very important and these things will help the university decide whether you are a good candidate or not. So, you may also include details about lab equipment you need, or the funding kind of opportunities, then probable collaborators, then wider implications of your research. So, please note that institutes, universities, they look forward to hiring candidates with good research skills. So, you have to clearly demonstrate that you have done some good research in the past, and now again you have some research interests, and these are very relevant for the place you are applying for, and these also have wider implications. So, if you include details about probable funders for you, a government organization or a private company which is funding your research, or you argue that your research has greater implications for industry. So, you are hoping to get some good funding from the industry, and you are planning to collaborate with people from other places. All these things clearly establish you as a good researcher. So, naturally here you will include technical details. So, about your previous research and your future research interests, but you should not make it incomprehensible. So, remember, your statement will be reviewed by a peer group, and it may include some people related to your field, but not directly related to your field. So, it should be simple and showcase your research potentials and compel authorities to hire you. I will look at a sample research statement. So, this is from University of Pennsylvania Career Services. So, you can see here my dissertation, External Actors, Local Participation and Political Reform in Africa, Ghana and Senegal compared, draws on over 15 months of field research among civil society members, government officials, technocrats, members of the international community and ordinary citizens in these two countries. So, this information, this bit, it is information about the candidates' previous research accomplishments. I consider the involvement of new actors in novel political and economic reform initiatives in West Africa. These initiatives emanate from policies mandated by international actors, election monitoring and poverty reduction strategies, and were affected by and impacted the ongoing development of civil societies in each country. So, you established that your research was significant. I conclude that a different form of resurgent civil society developed in Ghana relative to Senegal, given each country's electoral political history. My analysis utilizes theories on split societies and contends that the particular interplay between colonial, political and economic logics leads to different types, though in quite varied ways, of civil societies. Consequently, the policy outcomes encouraged by external actors are dissimilar in each case. I argue that in Ghana and so on. So, here writer is giving more details about the research. So, you can also see that there are subheadings. Then you can see here I plan to transform my dissertation into a larger book. So, future plans. Then future research goals. I want to return to West Africa as soon as possible to implement an expanded research project that will further test my argument on the development of civil societies in West Africa. So, the candidate here talks about future research goals. and how he or she plans to do it. I would like to create and publish data on links between civil societies, political, social capital and democracy, such has been done on Latin America. So, this again clearly says that the candidate has thought about the research, future research. On the external side, my interest has been and continues to be on the synergies of and disconnects between policies designed at the international level by governments, development and financial international institutions, think tanks and NGOs, and what happens on the ground in Africa and elsewhere. I want to know more about how varied elite and civil society responses impact the ongoing evolution of policies proposed and sometimes mandated by a variety of external factors. So, who this current research is relevant for. So, those things are detailed. So, this is how you include details about your future research and how you plan to go about it and what implications it has. Thank you.